In 2019, Gareth Bale's proposed £1 million a week move to the Chinese Super League broke down in its final moments. But what if it had gone through? And we are back in 2019. Thus far in his career, Gareth has enjoyed an enormous amount of success. In his most recent full season with Real Madrid, he registered 21 goals and assists in all competitions. Still aged just 29, he's an absolutely elite player. In the most recent UCL final, he'd scored twice as he delivered the Spanish Giants yet another European triumph. But he will no longer be lining up in a team of superstars. Strict rules of how many non-domestic players can be fielded are prevalent here in China. No more than 4 can be allowed on the field at once. 2 of his teammates will be players with significant experience in the European game, Miranda and Alex Teixeira. With the season about to begin, it looks like Bale will be deployed as a forward in a 4-4-2 formation. Let's see what he can achieve in his new adventure. And he wouldn't have to wait long for his debut to arrive. Chongqing would be the visitors. 24 minutes in, he would score his side second with a trademark header in the middle, a 3-2 win and a winning start. It really didn't take long for him to adapt to his new surroundings. Benefiting from the tackle on the through ball, he moves in calmly and finishes. During his time in Spain, Bale would register 13 braces for Real Madrid. It would only take 2 matches for him to register his first in Asia. He was also making a big impression in the Chinese FA Cup. Goals in the opening round were followed up by another in the quarter-final against HB China Fortune. With a place in the final up for grabs, Jiangsu would meet Guangzhou. This really was an interesting era in the Super League, with plenty of familiar faces. In January 2019, Moussa Dembele would move east for a fee rumoured to be £11 million. His time there was largely affected by injuries, as he made just 21 appearances over his final 2 years. The Belgian midfielder would make an impact here almost instantly, finding space on the edge of the box before burying it. Just a few minutes later, his ex-Tottenham teammate would strike back. A chip to the back post is met on the volley by Bale. Some lax defending by the home side set Alex Teixeira free. He shows some elite composure and secures a 2-1 and his side's place in the final. All that stood in their way of silverware was the club of Demba Ba, Didier Drogba and Nicolas Anelka, Shanghai Shenhua. But Bale is always the man for the biggest occasion. In total during his career he'd score in 7 major finals, including 3 in Champions Leagues. Just a minute later he'd be involved again. Receiving the ball out wide he advances before a perfect delivery into the centre. Over 2 legs, his side would prove their superiority with a 4-2 aggregate win. Inside of a year, he's gotten his hands on his first ever trophy in China. And that would be followed up by a solid performance in the league as well. His Jiangsu side would end his first campaign in 3rd position, just 6 points behind the title winners. With 14 goals, he ranked in the top 10 scorers in the Super League. With the transfer window reopening, they've been busy again raiding the European market. For the season ahead, Alessandro Bastoni will join from Inter Milan. Aged just 20, he's still quite young, but will be a significant upgrade at the heart of the defence. That 3rd place finish last year ensured the Welshman's side would appear in the Asian Champions League. A draw and defeat in the opening 2 games left them in a precarious position. Bale refused to be eliminated at this early stage. Back-to-back wins inspired by our man against Sydney FC transformed their fortunes. 11 points would see them finish runners-up in Group H and ensure a spot in the round of 16. Their opponents, last year's Chinese champions Guangzhou Evergrande, Ex-Barcelona midfielder Paulinho would find his teammate in the middle. The golfing quality was apparent. A 5-1 aggregate defeat ensured their continental journey was over for this season. Domestically, though, he'd continue his impressive form, registering 13 goals and assists in 22 league appearances. For the second year running, they'd finish in the top 3 sides in the competition, an improvement on reality. They're actually pretty unfortunate to not win the league, only missing out by a single point. But they can't feel sorry for themselves for long. As season 3 begins, Gareth will face Melbourne City in a playoff for a spot in the Asian Champions League. In a single fixture played in Australia, it would be an ex-Blackburn Rovers and Hibernian man who'd decide proceedings. Jamie McLaren's brace ensured victory for the hosts. Bastoni would depart after a solid season on loan in China. His replacement, another familiar face to Serie A fans, Milinkovic. New Jiangsu coach, Dan Petrescu, seems to be prioritising their defence in this transfer window, with the arrival too of Carlos Salcedo. After a great start to the year, a run of a single victory in 10 games really looked to derail what could have been a title-challenging season. August 2021 would see Bale clash against another titan of world football, Arturo Vidal. The Welshman, although now 32 years of age, still has that elite movement and pace to separate him from the defender and score the winner. But this would prove to be a season of regression. Jiangsu fall all the way down to 9th place. Their only major arrival for the year ahead is Ere Comet. The Swiss defender has joined for a fee of $10 million from Basel, and he'll have his hands full tonight competing against Solomon Rondon. The Venezuelan forward would score 14 goals in 28 matches in the Chinese Super League during his career there. And it would be the big Venezuelan who'd open the scoring. A lofted ball is met in the middle as Dalian went one to the good. 18 minutes later, Bale would score the game-tying goal, but in the end it was nothing more than a consolation in a 2-1 defeat. In June 2022, the Welshman would announce his intention to retire from professional football. His final contribution arrived a few months later. The 2022 season would see an improvement, but his side would finish proceedings down in 6th position. In all, Gareth Bale would play 124 matches for Jiangsu Suning, along the way registering 61 goals and assists. He'd win 2 trophies in total, a Chinese Cup and a Chinese Super Cup. The change of pace really seemed to benefit him too, as he was largely injury-free, something which can't be said about the end of his career in reality. Gareth Bale's arrival in China could have seen a meteoric effect on football in the region. The last-minute cancellation of the transfer must have disappointed their fans no end. Here, though, at least, he certainly made an impression on the Super League.